The CEO was shocked to find that his wife, who had just given birth, had silently left the hospital with their daughter, followed by a group of bodyguards. Even so, he couldn't believe that his wife no longer wanted him. He simply thought he was hallucinating. So he rushed to his wife's hospital room to check, but the room was already empty. Just as he asked the nurse where his wife had gone, the nurse looked at him with disdain and said, "As a husband, you weren't here when your wife was giving birth. You weren't here after the surgery, and you didn't even prepare a meal for her. Now, you don't even know she's been discharged." Hearing this, the man immediately questioned his mother. "Didn't you say you brought food to my wife?" But his mother defended herself confidently, saying a friend came to visit her, and she simply couldn't spare time for that woman. Only then did the man remember to call his wife. Unexpectedly, his wife had already blocked his number. It turned out that 3 days earlier, the woman had gone into sudden labor, and during the difficult birth, she needed a family member's consent for surgery. She called her mother-in-law, but the mother-in-law was only focused on watching the younger sister's concert. Even when her son insisted strongly, she ignored the woman's plea and hung up the phone. Seeing the call was cut off, the medical staff became very anxious. Without a family member's signature, they couldn't proceed with the surgery. Both the woman and the baby were at risk at any moment. With no other choice, the woman called her husband, who she thought was on a business trip. But she didn't know that her husband had already returned home and was watching the sister's concert with his mother and son. As soon as the call connected, she heard the complaints of her mother-in-law and son. Even her husband scolded her for disturbing them while they watched the concert. Hearing this, the woman realized her husband no longer loved her and that his heart belonged only to his sister. After hanging up, the woman offered to sign the surgical consent herself. Hearing this, the medical staff looked at her with pity. Fortunately, the surgery was very successful, and the woman safely gave birth to a daughter. Once everything was over, the man finally rushed to the hospital with his whole family. But when they saw the woman, they neither comforted nor apologized to her. Instead, they blamed her for overreacting, saying it was just childbirth. Even her son said she couldn't compare to his aunt. Upon hearing this, the woman could no longer bear it. She directly asked her husband for a divorce. She requested that the son be raised by the husband while she would raise the daughter herself. She didn't want anything else, but the husband thought she was just throwing a tantrum and didn't take it seriously. He told her to calm down and stop talking about divorce. Then he turned and left. Seeing this, the woman didn't hesitate any longer. She directly called her professor. She asked if she could return to work in the lab. The professor was thrilled to hear from her and said, "The lab doors are always open for you." After learning that the woman had just given birth, the professor came to visit her in the hospital the next day. Upon hearing what the woman had recently endured and seeing the empty hospital room, the professor immediately arranged everything for her. Soon after the professor left, a group of bodyguards came to escort the woman home, saying the professor had hired the best nanny and housekeeper to take care of her and the baby. Hearing this, the woman was deeply moved. Thinking about how she had once given up her dreams for her family, only to be repaid with a cold hospital room and a husband who had betrayed her, she felt a deep sense of bitter irony. Meanwhile, the family that had accompanied the sister for a checkup was also preparing to leave the hospital. The sister even pretended to ask if they should go see the woman, but the son said he didn't want to see his mother's face right now, since they were going to pick her up the next day anyway. Hearing this, the man didn't scold his son, but instead decided to follow his son's suggestion and go straight home. At that moment, the man suddenly saw his wife leaving with the baby in her arms, followed by a group of bodyguards. But then he thought, she had just given birth and was still weak. There was no way she could have been discharged so soon. Still, feeling uneasy, he decided to go to his wife's hospital room, but he found it was already empty. After asking the nurse, the man learned that his wife had already been discharged and that no one had come to take care of her during those days. Hearing this, the man quickly called his wife, but her phone was completely unreachable. Only then did the man truly panic. He realized that his wife really didn't want him anymore, but the mother-in-law still mocked the woman, saying she'd never give up a life of luxury and must be throwing a tantrum just to get attention. The man no longer listened and rushed back home, hoping to see his wife and daughter there. But he didn't get what he hoped for. The sister continued to stir up trouble, saying that even if the woman was angry, she shouldn't take the baby away. The child is so young, something could easily happen. Upon hearing that, the mother-in-law began cursing the woman. The husband then remembered his wife had a villa and she might be there now. But when the man arrived at the villa, he discovered that the lock, once set to his birthday, had already been changed.